Live from Copple Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to Ticket Weeknights. Riffin with Raff and AD. Nice, right? More Husker talk, more Huskers talking, which is kind of the idea behind it. Storytelling, and the line. I'm DP, next to me, AD, next to him, Chris Raff. Big Sky, welcome back, bro. I know you've been going through it. Greatly appreciated. You folks, we are live, so that means you can text us. 402-464-5685 on the Starter Hammond text line. You can call in if you have commentary, things you want to share. Do so on the Honda Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. You can follow the live video stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Those chat rooms are open, so if you have commentary, have at it, get in the way. This is the beauty of it. When Huskers get together, stories are told. So I wanted these two fine gentlemen to be able to share stories with you each week. It's wonderful to have you guys a part of the Ticket family. So give the folks a little. Let's start with Chris. Give the folks a little of who you are and what you want this to be.
Well, first off, we're super excited to be here. We kind of an idea we came up with, but it's one of those things that we've been around the state of Nebraska, I guess I'd say our entire life. And the university's probably, I would say for me and probably for AD, probably one of the most important things that we've ever encountered, and the people that we've met, and not just through the university that's continued, and the people we met through the university, I would say probably encompasses, a lot of people. And what we want to do is we want to introduce those people to the listeners out there and have them tell some of the stories and, stuff that they've encountered in life, and hopefully it'll inspire some people and hopefully it'll bring some entertainment.
AD, let them know.
My man.
Let them know.
Money.
Let them know, man. Let them know.
Oh, Big Sky Raff, this is a blast, man. First of all, it's cold outside, so it feels good up in this mug right now. We was rolling. I was just like, man, it's cold out here.
Look, this is when you really enjoy being indoors.
Yes.
Working indoors, I was like, oh, thank you.
Yes.
The Lord is good. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Somebody say praise the Lord.
I was saying, it's funny thing is, and you guys don't have to meet my wife, Rebecca, who's the real brains behind all this, right? And so she always asks the question, she goes, I tend to pull people who are like I am.
Yeah.
Energy, vibe, same deal. And she goes, are these your guys? And I'm like, yeah, Chris and AD are my guys. Like, these are my kind of dudes. This is how this is going to get down. So, yeah, it's cold. Talk to me about the legend that is Aaron Davis.
Well, I wouldn't say legend.
Oh, it's legend, because if I know about it before I get here, it's legendary.
Let me tell you, I won't get too deep, but you know what? Here's the deal. First of all, we're pumped to be part of the family here. Pumped to be part of the family right here. This is a blast. It's a new endeavor, as Raff mentioned, but I've done a lot of radio, not in this capacity, but as far as interviews, etc. This is different, though, because this is a family type atmosphere. There's not you just going in and talk to somebody, you're out of there. This is Husker Nation, but I was born and raised here in Nebraska, right here in Lincoln. I have been running around at that stadium since 1984. Wow. My oldest brother, Mark Davis, one of my older brothers, he was the equipment manager for the football team. So from the age of about 10 years old, I've been running around that stadium down in the Mushroom Gardens, what they call the old track.
Yeah, okay.
Underneath.
Right.
Known the coaches for years. In fact, Coach Solich gave me my first job. All right. I was the ball boy for the Big Red football schools. And so I've been running around there for years, man. And then I was fortunate. I wasn't a superstar or a starter. I was a walk-on that just had a dream to play football for Nebraska. So even as Rashawn, my former teammate, was on today, and Terrell, you had
Sheldon.
Had Sheldon on there.
What a great conversation.
Yeah, and I wanted to call in because Tavy hit me kind of hard a few times, but I didn't want to say nothing. I wasn't going to say nothing. But, so I had an opportunity. For me, it was a dream come true to be able to play for Coach Osborne and to be a part of a national championship team. And more importantly than that, just the lessons we learned that we didn't realize the gravity of until after we were done. And VJ said that so many times throughout, and Strick on his show too, just to be a part of the athletic family at Nebraska, regardless of what sport, it was really a blessing and just a privilege. And you don't realize until you get old like we are now. I ain't saying like you, but I'm just saying like me. I'm old.
No, I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm older. That's how this gets down. I'm the old head in the room.
It was a good time though, man. It was a good time.
You guys, there is a deep kindred.
Yes.
And I want to ask, is it because of the success or was the reason for the success?
It's kind of like you're asking, was it the chicken or the egg?
Right. Well, but because it's absolutely a thing that some people can say, well, everybody loves you when you win it. Like everybody loves a champ. But are you lovable before? Is that why you become a champ? The respect of each other, the respect of the name, the respect of the work that's required. Like, this is not normal. There's 9 programs in the entire country that have the legacy of Nebraska Huskers. Is that because you care, or is it because you care? Like, it has to be. I don't know which one comes first. Were you great, or were you great because you loved each other?
I think they're interchangeable.
Yeah,
I really do. You can't have one without the other. Yeah. And people have to remember that are older out there. Before Coach Osborne won the national championship, there were people. In fact, he has a story that he shared with us, and I believe it was in either 79 or 78 at the Blue Bonnet Bowl, I believe, that he had somebody, 78, that he had somebody, remember this, Raff? He had someone come up to him, like a regent or someone of that nature.
Win or go home.
Hey, Coach, it's a good thing you won tonight because you're going to be looking for a job.
Win or go home.
And the man, what was the final record that year? I mean, we won, like, Coach never lost more than 9 games.
No, never.
Never. And they still wanted him gone. So to your point, Derek, it comes both. And people, the huge buzzword today, we hear it in corporate America, we hear it in sports, culture. Well, people make up culture. So Coach Osborne and that whole regime during that time, they made sure they brought in the right people. And then you create culture around the people. You can't have culture without people or people without culture. They come hand in hand. But to your point, you got to have both of them. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, I went through several conversations with, and it's a weird thing, guys that didn't even play together were still teammates.
Yep.
Like, to have people that never played with you, Chris, look at and go, okay, I get it. Because you were around the program and you were a constant around the programs. And that's powerful. Like, to go, that dude was always a presence. That's when you know you made an impact. When somebody says, Chris had presence, that's important, and those people are necessary. Who are the other folks within the program that kind of are the presence people, those legends that kind of keep the place keepers, right? To make sure the standards stay the same.
I have a lot, but Raff, who would you say some of those guys would be?
I'll let you go first on that one.
You know, I can't think you could just name one, but when you look at the guys from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, regardless if you played together or not, you're part of the family. It's like my oldest brother, God rest his soul. He's 12 years older. We don't have a lot in common as far as growing up because I didn't know. When he moved out, I was like 9.
Right.
You know, but we're both Davises. So regardless if a guy played in the 70s, 90s, or right now, we all wore the N on the helmet. We had the same uniform. So even though we didn't have a lot of same stories, we had the same experiences, and we have that same bloodline of Nebraska football with the DNA that's there. So as far as names, and we can go from even just, I'm just going from my era, but even guys before me that I looked up to a lot because they were there. You look at the Mike Roziers, Guy Rozier, who I still keep in touch with those guys quite a bit. You look like Keith Jones, Lee Jones, Neil Smith, Broderick Thomas, Tony Davis before them, you know, Roger Craig, Curtis Craig before those guys, Danny Noonans that were there, the Mike Murrays, who was a short defensive nose guard that played then. You look at, I can keep going on and on. Of course, the Christian Peter brothers, you know, Jeff Mills, Reggie Cooper, Tyrone Berg, Tony Veland, John Ray. I can keep going on and on with those guys that continue to pass the torch to us younger guys. And when you came in, it was you were corrected real fast if you weren't doing things the Nebraska way. It's like, whoa. That's not how we practice here.
What is the Nebraska way?
excellence in everything. I was a scout team guy, D. Listen, Saturdays was a day of rest for a brother like me. You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, dudes was getting hyped up to play the game. Man, I was eating Fairberry hot dogs.
Just tell them you're 30 for 30 right now.
Y'all listening out there, it blows me away when people, if they know me, it's because of what I do now as far as a public speaker. Yeah. When they say, oh, I remember you played for Nebraska, I'm thinking, you got to be a sick Husker fan to remember when I played for Nebraska. My stats, I had 1 catch for 19 yards against Missouri. And Coach Osborne reminds me of this story every time. He says, if AD would have just fell forward for a yard, the whole state would have got, a dollar run just because we had 200 yards in passing. But Coach Osborne and Coach Brown never let that down. So I was not a superstar whatsoever, but even on scout team, and Rashawn will tell you this in his scout team days, Sheldon would tell you the same, Octavius would tell you the same, there was a certain way that we carried ourselves. Every rep mattered. Every snap mattered. And I heard VJ say this earlier today. If it wasn't done with excellence, you'd hear this, run it again. It didn't matter if it was 65 degrees or 6 degrees. If it wasn't done with excellence, run it again. So if you do that so many times, it's ingrained in you. Then the younger guys see that. And then it passes on down to the next generation. If you don't, you were just talking about this before, remember about history. Mm-hmm. If you don't know your lineage or history, you don't respect it.
Say that again louder for the people.
If you don't know your lineage or history, you don't respect it. I remember when the black shirts would get their black shirts, and Octavius would tell you this, and a number of other guys would tell you this. Those guys would be in tears. It meant that much because they understood the lineage, they understood the history, they understood and respected those who came before them. If you don't have a memory or an understanding or an appreciation who came before you, you don't necessarily respect what's going on right now. It's just you're playing at Nebraska rather than for Nebraska. It's a major difference.
Man, look, the whole point of all of this stuff, especially in this station, was to have conversations about the right way, and then actually have those stories be represented by a person rather than, like, for me to say it, it's nice. Mm-hmm. It's nice. It means more for you guys to say it. From the Starter Haven text line, Ray says, "What's up, DP?" Of course, he's saying, "What's up to you guys?" Of course, Chris has presence. He's 6'8". So this is what you have to look forward to. I'm just letting you know. Ray's good people, man.
That's what he said. He's 6'8".
Yeah,
actually, I think he's 6'9".
Right, to do this too. So, Chris, through all the your time within and around the program, what makes it special to you?
The family atmosphere. It's been, oh man, I don't want to say it, 25, 30 years.
Say it. And
I still see, guys that, some I haven't seen for like 15, 20 years, and, still, hey, how are you? What's new? How's life? Stuff like that. One of the coaches that I met at Nebraska, Lance Leipold, the head football coach at Kansas, I met him when he was a on-campus recruiting coordinator at the university, and we've kept in touch through the years. And I'll go up to Buffalo when he was the head coach up there before I went to Kansas. And it was funny. The first year I went up there, you could sort of see him building that culture. And then I'd go up there year 2, year 3, year 4. And it amazed me how much he had patterned his program after Nebraska of the 90s, early 2000s. These players were coming up to me, "Hello, sir. How are you?" It went from sir to, I told him, no more sir stuff. Call me Chris. And it got to a point where I got to know like all of his players, and like they played at Nebraska this year. And I went down to the team hotel the night before the game, and I'm like saying hi to the families, and I'm having old players. James O'Hagan, he was a Remington Award candidate. He was a GA on his staff, made sure to come down and say hi, and stuff like that. And that's like that feeling. It just gave me that 90s feeling. And I've told Lance that several times. It's like, you might never be the power that Nebraska was in the 90s, early 2000s, but that culture that you're building is what's, going to make you successful, because when you have that family bond, that's hard to beat.
We are with, and this is a Wednesday night regular thing forward, AD and Raff. And guys, when you look at today's program, where it stands currently, if you could add one thing to it to help it improve and be what the greater version of itself, what would you add to the programs? What would you add?
You go first, Raffy.
That's a tough question. I don't think it's so much about adding anything, because I really think Nebraska has the talent. I think they have the capabilities. They have the abilities. I think if anything, it's just to add that mentality from the 90s, that refuse to lose attitude. I felt like this year we'd get in the fourth quarter and stuff like that, and instead of going, we're going to win, it always would turn into, well, I hope something doesn't go wrong here. And I think once we get that attitude back of refusing to lose, like we're going to the fourth quarter. And I think Vershawn mentioned it earlier today about holding those four fingers up. It meant something. We got to get back to when it hits that fourth quarter and those four fingers go up. It means, hey, we're here to win, and that's all we're going to do.
You know what? I think there's a lot of factors here when you look at it. And I think it starts with this. Today's player is a lot different than we were too, from a mindset standpoint. We didn't have cell phones unless your parents had bank. I mean, it was $80 a second for a cell phone back then. You know what I'm saying? We had pagers.
And that was during the day.
That was during the daytime. You better be half dead or in a ditch to use a cell phone.
Yeah.
These kids today have a lot of distractions. That's not an excuse. That's a reality. Mm-hmm. I will also say this, though. Back in those days, I don't want to say back in those days, but it was during that time, I'm going to say, once you understood the agony of defeat, it's greater than the thrill of victory. That pain of losing is more intense than winning the national championship. Because in 1993, we got cheated against Florida State, didn't we, Husker fans?
It was a fumble.
Yes. Not only a fumble, we still haven't found the clip yet on Corey Dixon, and I haven't even watched it on tape.
What block?
Yeah, what block? So you think about all of that, and when you lose a game like that, not just a regular season game, but I mean a national, when everything's online, you lose like that, that leaves a horrible taste in your mouth. I'm 47 years old. I watched that game. Literally, I watched that game on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's because I didn't play.
Right.
But I'll say this. When Raff brought up refuse to lose, and we had a whole theme, unfinished business. So, and it started in January. And that's what I'm hoping this team does this year, that it starts right now. Because games are not won and lost during the game. They're won and lost from January all until that first practice. And everything you do, every snap, every rep, every drill, the way you carry yourself, all of those games are won and lost way before the game starts. Now, are there things that are going to happen out of your control? Yes. But this team, and I hear it all over the country and I travel, man, you guys are just so close. Guys are just so close. And as Raff, as you brought up, we have to get out of our mindset, we were so close. You can't expect, well, something's going to go wrong. You have to expect, no, something's going to go right. But in order to start expecting that, you have to start seeing it. It's got to be a mindset shift.
I think so much of the discussion, because this vacuum, this sports media vacuum, was filled with people who wanted to vent rather than people that wanted to resolve. And there's a difference. So the voices are required for guys like Chris Raff and Aaron Davis to say there is a way to this. Like, they're not less talented. They are more distracted.
Yep.
They are placated more.
Mm-hmm.
But they also don't have the expectancy that winning is mandatory.
Yes. Like,
there's a different, like, everybody wants to win, but not everybody works or fights for winning.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a different thing. For you guys, what were the common messages that Coach Osborne would give? The voice that was in the head of players when things got tough. What would that Tom Osborne voice say?
You know, one of the things is, and this is going to sound cliche-ish, but it's the truth. And my former colleagues, I'm old when you say colleagues, man. My former teammates would probably echo this as well. You know, you practice like you play like you practice. our games were pretty much over for the most part, first or second series of that third quarter. Because physically, that other team took a pounding so bad. You had some of those guys that didn't want to come back out and play in the second half because they were beat up.
Yeah.
They were physically beat up. So when we start, I'll never forget it against Wyoming. Frazier was out with blood clots. Brooke Behringer had collapsed lung.
Mm-hmm.
And at halftime, Coach Osborne comes to the locker room. Terminator, you're starting. Locker room erupts. Nobody felt, oh my gosh, we're going to lose. That was never an option.
It's your time because you put in the work.
Yes, because we put in the work. Coach Osborne would always tell us, fellas, if you prepare like champions, you'll be a champion. But you must prepare for it. Preparing to be a champion is not fun.
Mm-mm.
Preparing to be a champion is not easy. There are sacrifices. And Rashawn talked, in fact, Octavius talked about it today. Man, think about practicing out on a day like this outside today. Now, we didn't have the Hawks facility and things like they got now. Now, we have the Cook Pavilion. Don't be wrong. We had that. But when the offense, when it was time to go out there and like scrimmage, he was like, you're not going to play in 65-degree weather in October, November, or for a Big 12 championship, Big 8 championship. So we're going to practice in those environments. Preparing for it is rarely fun, but the results
is worth it.
It's all worth it. You don't remember the cold as much when you put on the ring.
Here's the thing. I'll get you out in your first break. But here's the thing. Think about it this way. None of the student athletes that play here now currently understand what you just said because they've never had to play in January.
It's true.
Never played in a bowl game, never played in a national championship game, never had that expectation and that standard that the best is all we aspire to. Just ponder that for a second, that they don't even know.
That, Derek, to my understanding, I could be wrong on this. On this year's roster, I believe the only one that played in a game was a bowl game was what, JoJo Doman?
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think that was the only one. So that's to your point. And to go back to your point, what you said earlier, what were some of the things? One of the things was Coach Osborne, and I don't want to get into this because I know a lot of people do this. We're comparing this.
We're simply saying what it is.
And you're not saying that. But people always ask me, what's the difference? I'm like, it's not fair for me to compare, but I'm saying I'm going to only say what the recipe was for us. But it works. We had a lot of internal accountability. We had a thing called the Unity Council. And if you were messing up in the classroom, off the field, on the field, you didn't want to go in before in front of your peers. It was like the Supreme Court of your peers. And if you had to go in there in front of the Unity Council, you knew you messed up. It was much worse to hear it from your teammates than from a coach.
Yeah. So
we were pretty well self-governed. Again, though, that goes into the DNA and the culture. We don't do things like that here at Nebraska.
Yeah, it's deep. We'll go one final text before we go to the break. It says, congrats, Raff and AD. Too cold for golf. Might as well talk about the Huskers on the radio. Can't wait to listen to you guys, Blake France. So we'll throw it to break.
Blake.
Yeah, man. We'll throw it to break. You're listening to Riffin on look, Chris Raff, Aaron Davis, every Wednesday night. Buckle up. Buckle up. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Yesterday, your water heater worked just fine. Today, surprise! When you're out of hot water, just call the plumbers at Bryant. In most cases, you can get same-day water heater replacement. What you won't get is a costly surprise with the bill. At Bryant, the price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. No last-minute extras for piping or ventilation alterations. Need a new water heater? Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Our next shot of cold Arctic air has arrived. We only top out at around 14 today with a north wind at 15 to 20. It will feel below zero for much of the day as a wind chill advisory will be in effect. Could see some light snow this evening. We'll drop down to 2 below overnight and only see a high of around 11 for tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Judy Benson, president of the NSEA, and I'm asking for your help. We know the best learning for our kids happens when they are in classrooms, in person, with their classmates and teachers. To help keep our public schools open for in-person learning, please follow health and safety guidelines from medical experts. Working together, our students continue to learn, grow, and thrive.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
South Lincoln has a new place for you to catch all sporting events. The Upside Bar and Lounge is your destination for Monday Night Football, UFC fight nights, and more. It's a great place to meet friends to enjoy great drinks and food, with plenty of TVs to catch all the action. There's easy access and free parking and comfortable seating for groups. And don't forget happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. each weekday. There's specials every night, including taco night on Mondays and burger baskets on Tuesdays. That's at the Upside Bar and Lounge at 27th and Pine Lake.
Working at Continental of Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Riffin with Raff and AD show. And we are back here live, and we got a guest in studio. His name is Jeff Essink from Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, which AD, pretty important place to the both of us.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Raff, before we get in with Jeff, it's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you, man. Before we get in with Jeff, Raff, how did your journey start with FXB, with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping? How did your journey start with it?
Well, my journey began, I had a good friend of mine come up to me and say, hey, I'm doing these kickboxing classes and strength training classes, and they do 10-week sessions, and I think you should give it a shot. I won't lie, I was getting up there in the pounds and the body fat and all that stuff, and I said, well, I'll give it a shot. So that friend took me in one day to do one class. These classes are 45 minutes long, and I made it about 35 minutes, and I was like, I got this. But about the 35-minute mark, I was like, oh boy, I'm out of shape.
You was looking like Herbie Husker, dog. Cheeks was red like Santa.
So y'all might have guessed who that friend was that took me to FXB that first time. And I was like, holy cow, this is a workout. So I said, I'm going to do this. So I signed up for that 10-week session, and I did fairly well, and the rest was history.
Raff is being, to the fans out there listening, this is kind of our marketing standpoint. We have our Jeff Essink. He's one of the co-owners of the franchise here in Lincoln, Nebraska. They have 2 locations. But I was that guy that brought Raff in because, the thing about staying in shape, y'all, this is all relates to Husker football. So you got to be in shape. You can't compete if you're not in shape, if you're not strong, if you're not taking care of your body, etc. But I was proud of Raff because the thing he did was finish, and he's being humble. He actually won the 10-week, and that's $1,000. So, and I can't say I'm proud of I am because he actually did it. The hardest part is just taking that first step in it. And I know with New Year's coming around, people have resolutions, goals, etc. I applaud you. And right now, gyms are packed, etc. And there's a lot of people out there that will bash the new people that come to the gym. I'm like, no, why would you bash someone that's trying to improve their life, their health and fitness? And Jeff, we're going to segue into you, folks. Again, our guest tonight is Jeff Essink, one of my best buddies, co-owner along with his wife Nicole of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping here in Lincoln. Jeff, how are you tonight, my man?
I'm doing great. I'll tell you what, it is an absolute privilege to be your very first guest.
Yes.
I mean, it was awesome. When I heard you guys were getting this show, I was super pumped. So it's a privilege of mine to be in here with you for your very first guest for this show.
Man, thanks for joining us, man. Jeff, let me ask you this. You got the Nebraska hat on.
Mm-hmm.
You're more of a diehard fan than I am. I mean, you tell me things I don't know. And you're from Iowa.
Well, I was born in Grand Island.
Okay, there we go.
When you're born in Nebraska, you're a Nebraska fan. Like it's just in your blood. So we moved to Iowa when I was 2 years old. So I pretty much I lived in Iowa almost my whole life until we moved back here in 2018 when we bought the location.
That had to be hard to live there that long.
Oh, I have a lot of story. I mean, corn cobs stuck in my lockers.
Oh man.
Newspaper articles hung up on my locker, and I brought it on myself, obviously. But I graduated in 1996. And you know who got the last laugh was me because they didn't lose a game my last 2 years in high school. So I got the last laugh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Has it been tough for you the past couple years with the Iowa fans?
You know what? One of the best things about living in Lincoln, Nebraska is when Nebraska loses, I get to come to a gym with all Nebraska fans.
There you go.
So we can be miserable together. I mean, I'll tell you what, when we owned the gym in Iowa and before we joined the Big Ten, it wasn't a big deal. Like, I mean, didn't really think of Iowa all that much. We never played them. But when we joined that, $1 for every time I heard somebody say, welcome to the Big Ten, I would be retired.
No doubt.
So yeah, it was moving out here. Oh, that's just one of the best things about living here is not having to deal with that. I don't know if I could be living in Iowa right now, to be honest with you. So, it's good to be here.
You know what? One thing I was thinking about with Iowa, the only team that in the Big Ten that just kind of, and I mean, don't get me wrong. My little godson, Keegan Johnson, plays for Iowa. So I want him to do well. I mean, I love that little dude. So I want him to excel like crazy. But this was a number of years ago, man. I was in Iowa. And they were just kind of about 6-7 years ago. They were letting me have it about, Iowa just beat Nebraska.
Oh, sure.
And
it hasn't ended
yet. So they introduced me and they're playing the Iowa fight song. And I'm thinking, that's cool. And then they start showing these little clips of Iowa versus Nebraska, and I'm like, that's cool too. I didn't get my check yet, so I didn't say nothing. I just let it ride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get on stage and I took off my national championship ring, put it on the podium. And I said, I'm going to introduce the Iowa football fans to a foreign object. They did not laugh. I barely made it out of Iowa City that night, man. But you got to sometimes just put people in their place sometimes. But it's all in fun and banter.
It is, yes.
Jeff, you being a Husker fan for so long, let me ask you this. Let me tell you, what is the most memorable memory that you have, the biggest highlight you have as being a fan? What stands out?
Well, the biggest highlight for me is obviously growing up watching Nebraska football with my dad. Dad passed away in 2014, so he didn't have to see all of this, but just really watching the Florida State game in 1993, which you were talking about.
Cheated, didn't we,
oh
Jeffrey?
well, still to this day, yes, I have a picture of William Floyd jumping over the goal line with the ball out of his hands. That was a touchdown, but no instant replay back then. But really, just watching them win the national championships, just to see the excitement on my dad's face. And I always heard about 1983 going for 2 against Miami, and I was only 4 at the time, so I don't have any memories of that. But it's just one of those things where I like the Chicago Bears, and I remember when I started liking the Chicago Bears.
Okay, you could stop right there.
No, I know, but I remember when. I don't remember when I started to like Nebraska. It's just always been a part of my life. And, so those memories with growing up watching those games with my dad and even listening to, I remember he had this little radio because with living in Iowa, we didn't get they were only on a couple times a year, Colorado, Oklahoma, those types of games. And then when they, one of their big non-conference games. So just sitting in the living room, listening to games on the radio and just visualizing what's happening, those were pretty cool. He just had a little radio about this big that he could get a station out of Omaha that would carry those games. And so now this year, I had season tickets, and I brought my son who's 15, brought him to a few games, and we were at that Michigan game, and he was just having the time of his life. And even though we lost, he had the time of his life.
You bet.
I mean, he was so fired up. I mean, shaking, just screaming. I mean, it was awesome. So I'm glad that I can now, being here, create those memories with my kids and stuff like that.
So you're listening to 93.7 The Ticket, and we have the Honda of Lincoln hotline. You can call in at 402-464-5685, or you can text us at the Sartor Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. And once again, we have Jeff with us from Farrell's. I guess the question that probably needs to be asked is, I had done my 10-week challenge. It's been a few years back, but people that are looking to get involved, when can they get involved, or how do they go about, starting their journey?
Right. Well, so our winter 10-week challenge actually starts this Saturday with our group orientation. We do 6 days a week, 45-minute classes. They're all group fitness classes. We do kickboxing on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, strength training on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You also get a customized nutrition plan that comes with it, tailored to everybody's body composition. So that's something, it's kind of an all inclusive package that you get doing the 10 weeks. Farrell's has been in Lincoln for 12 years. We've had over 4,000 people come through the 10-week challenge in those 12 years. So you can be next.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. Let's say, and we'll get back to Husker football, and we're just kind of dicing it back and forth here. We want to make sure we get this out there. Let's say someone out there is listening, and a few buddies of mine have already texted out here. Let's say someone lives in McCook, Nebraska. Someone lives in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Someone lives in the Bronx. They're saying, well, man, I'd love to do this, but they don't have Farrell's here.
Well, we have a 100% at-home virtual program that we offer. We started that back in 2020 when our gyms had to close down for 2.5 months. And Nicole and I were thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to keep our members motivated, through these 2 months? And that's something that we created, was an at-home 10-week challenge. So before COVID, the thought of a Farrell's at-home workout never existed.
Right.
And today we have members in 15 different states.
Wow.
From Washington. My best friend who lives up in Mount Vernon, Washington's been doing Farrell's since we started the at-home program. Just had a lady that signed up that lives down in Dorchester, Nebraska, which is right. But I'm like, I've never heard of that little town, you know, but it's right outside of Crete, you know, so
it's right down the road.
She's 30 miles away. So she's going to be doing the virtual program as well. So we have members in Grand Island, Kearney, you know, in 15 different states across the country that all do our at-home program.
Jeff, let's say someone is saying, you know, I hear the extreme part of Farrell's extreme body shaping. Will you shed some light on that, what that means, so it doesn't scare anybody away?
The extreme is really the results.
There we go.
That you get. We have members from our oldest member is 71, our youngest member is 12. We have people of all different fitness levels. You know, the majority of the people that start with us are ones that say, hey, I haven't worked out in 5, 10, 15 years. I don't know what to do to get started. So the beauty of the 10-week challenge is, you know, come Saturday, we're going to have close to 100 people starting the 10-week challenge. So they're all kind of learning together, and the program is really customized towards our beginners. And then as the 10 weeks gets into week 2, week 3, the classes get tougher and tougher.
Absolutely.
So it's built for somebody who has never punched a bag, never kicked a bag, doesn't even really know what kickboxing is. Maybe they haven't worked out in, like I said, 10, 15 years. And the program is designed to help those who really don't know what to do on their own.
Right.
And it's been the same exact program for 20 years. We do kickboxing, strength training, nutrition, and we really haven't deviated from that at all because it works.
It works. You know, I would say this too. And granted, you guys haven't deviated, but what you have done, you've enhanced it. With the dumbbells, which I thought was So let's say two things here. Now, I know Raff will have a question here too as well. Two things. Let's say, for instance, like me, right now, I got a bum ankle. All right. Wish, like I said, I was doing some athletic when I messed it up, but I wasn't. I'm just getting old, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I've been coming to class, I'm not kicking with my right foot.
Right.
You know, I'm just kind of just kicking in there or just walking in place with it. Let's say someone's had hip surgery, knee surgery, like, man, I'd love to do something, but how do I modify that? That scares me of kicking the bag. Explain how will you compensate with that?
So we can help you modify really anything. I mean, our at-home program, you don't kick a bag.
Exactly.
You know, you're just doing shadow boxing and kicking the air. So if you're one that wants to come into the gym, you know, you can do your punches on the bag and kick off to the side. You know, so as long as you're moving and sweating and burning calories, we have members that can't, you know, jump up and down, or they've had knee replacement or shoulder surgery. So we just help modify to help work those muscles that you would normally be working, but we just have you do something different.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
You know, makes a lot of sense. I'll let Raff make a quick announcement here when we get back here. But I want to say this: when Jeff mentioned modified, and some of the people who know me know this, but and I'll get more into this later on other shows. But as Jeff just mentioned, if you've had, you know, surgeries or something like that, well, May 3rd, I was diagnosed with cancer, prostate cancer. Thank God I'm 6 months cancer free. That was the best Christmas present that I could ever have had, being cancer free. But I'm still, I appreciate it, Big Si. I'm still with my abs because I had those incisions that were placed there to remove my prostate.
Right.
I'm still just taking my time with my abs. So when they're doing extreme ab stuff, I'm just doing shoulders, or I'm just touching toes, or, you know, bicycle. Basically what I'm saying, I'm modifying it. So regardless of what you've been through, there's ways that you and your team have created for that.
And nobody is calling you out.
Exactly.
Nobody's saying, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now, you know, you were taking a lot of drinks of water. I didn't really see that big of a difference between when you were 100% to now. You know, you still had all the water breaks. But, you know,
as my man and water boy said, hydration is important.
Yes. And DP, if you're listening, I always bring up to AD. I say, you know, I think back to Remember the Titans. I'll say, now we're going to do these burpees until AD is no longer tired or thirsty. And then he says, Jeff, that was in the 1970s.
Well, speaking of water breaks, AD probably needs a water break right now. So you're listening to the Riffin with Raff and AD show. And when we come back, we'll talk more with Jeff.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal. Players off Tuesday, back to work Wednesday on a short week to get ready to host KC. Safety Justin Simmons' comments following Sunday's loss still resonating as they sum up how most of Broncos country feel right now, and certainly captures the mood of the locker room.
You know, you put in so much work and to go out there and have that type of performance all around, you know, it's tough. I don't even know if I can put a word on it, you know, in terms of how guys are feeling. Now, I don't mean to be short, but it just, it sucks.
I did ask head coach Vic Fangio if they'd reduce some starter snaps with no playoffs at stake to give some younger guys a longer look as they head into next season.
No, we're going to play the guys that are available to play, and we're going to do anything and everything we can to win this game.
Again, if you haven't heard, the NFL moved the Broncos finale to Saturday rather than Sunday as they host the Chiefs at 2:30 at Empower Field at Mile High.
I'm Judy Benson, president of the NSCA, and I'm asking for your help. We know the best learning for our kids happens when they are in classrooms, in person, with their classmates and teachers. To help keep our public schools open for in-person learning, please follow health and safety guidelines from medical experts. Working together, our students continue to learn, grow, and thrive.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Is our internet down again? That's the question you hear around the office when you experience an outage with outdated communication services. Allo knows businesses need reliable internet to keep everything moving. This is why Tammy Stevenson of the Bridge Behavioral Health switched to Allo.
Expedient and reliable service is critical because we provide care to our clients 24/7. We're just very, very appreciative of Allo service.
To get a free quote, switch today. Visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685.
Working at Continental of Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Beatrice Bakery has been serving Nebraska with one-of-a-kind Grandma's Fruitcake since 1964. You already know that, but did you know they offer way more than that? You've got to try their line of liqueur cakes, like the strawberry daiquiri cake or the vanilla rum cake. Or what about their breakfast breads, the banana nut bread, or their various streusel coffee cakes? Whatever the occasion, Beatrice Bakery has something for you. Oh yeah, and Grandma's Fruitcake? It's still pretty darn good. Beatrice Bakery, located in downtown Beatrice, or always online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Our next shot of cold Arctic air has arrived. We only top out at around 14 today with a north wind at 15 to 20. It will feel below zero for much of the day as a wind chill advisory will be in effect. Could see some light snow this evening. We'll drop down to 2 below overnight and only see a high of around 11 for tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get it, AD. You're listening live to Riffin with Raff and AD on The Ticket 93.7, and we're back here with
Jeff Essink from Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. And we had a question come in about maybe telling us a little bit about the results. And I can vouch my results. I lost about 25 inches and I dropped close to about 50 pounds in the 10 weeks that I did mine. Mind you, I had a lot of weight to lose, so that 50 pounds is a little bit easier than some people's.
Hey, somebody even put you on the chat line here with you looking like Hulk Hogan on this mug, man.
Well, every once in a while.
You did throw a photo out there.
I did.
Yeah,
You see that one? I've thrown some biceps out there.
Listen, all you Hulkamaniacs.
What you gonna do when Raffamania runs wild on you, brother?
And if you feel like you might feel a little uncoordinated, there's nobody more uncoordinated that goes into Farrell's than Chris Raff.
I will concur.
I mean, he just stands at the back, and I'll tell you, when he's punching, if you've ever seen The Princess Bride and Andre the Giant's throwing some of those jabs at, Wesley, I mean, that's what his punches look like. You don't want to be in the way of those punches. So I'm glad the bag is on the receiving end of those, and not me.
Rav came in and just got chiseled up, man. Go ahead, brother.
I was just gonna say, spoke a little bit about my results. Jeff, when you got started at Farrell's, I mean, you probably just came in and already just chiseled rock solid.
Oh, no. I think it's important for those to kind of get to know Nicole and I a little bit and our backstory. I started Farrell's in 2008, and so I was a young buck then. I was 30 years old. Mm-hmm. But the reason that I started was because I got denied life insurance at age 30. So I was 240 pounds, which isn't a lot. But I was 49% body fat. So half of my body.
Whoa. You said how much?
49%.
Say that again.
49%.
Okay.
Yeah. Half of my body was fat. And my liver and kidneys just weren't functioning properly. So that's why I started. I mean, it was literally, I was borderline almost diabetic, and I did over the road. I was in sales, and my wife, we had just a kind of 2-year-old and a 6-year-old at home. She was a stay-at-home mom. And I mean, at any moment driving 24,000 miles a year, I mean, my life was in danger just driving on the road. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why I started. And so in 2008, I was 240 pounds when I started. I dropped 30 pounds in my 10 weeks, and we both became coaches, instructors, and now we've been owners for we're going on year 9 coming up here. And we've been in Lincoln for 4 years, actually, February 1st.
If that is nothing short of remarkable, because when you get denied life insurance, if something heaven forbid was to happen to you on the road,
right?
Your family is in financial,
right,
dire straits,
right?
So you came in. It was a situation where you said, you know what, this has got to happen.
Yeah, it was. I needed to make a change, and so Nicole and I just have a passion for helping people. We're not throwing out, Hulk Hogan type bodies. I mean, maybe with Raff, but for the most part, we're just trying to be the healthiest versions of ourselves.
You know what, Jeff, and that's beautifully stated in that. It goes back to the question as we bring it back to Husker football a little bit. You and Nicole have created a culture at the gym. It's a family culture.
Right.
To where there's the encouragement that's there. There's no judgment there, but there's accountability that's there. It's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. You go to a lot of other gyms, and that's not knocking the other gym. It's just a fact. When people haven't seen you in a while, on our group page, people are going to say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. When I've gone through the things I've gone through, it was overwhelming support because they notice that you're gone.
Right.
And it's not about who's the fittest. It's about who can just be we just want to encourage you to be healthy.
Right.
And you and Nicole have created an amazing family culture at that gym that has allowed that to take place. And that's why the gym is so successful, man.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Real quick, is there...
All right, so you are listening to The Ticket 93.7. I believe we have a caller on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Dustin, we'll take your call. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you tonight, brother?
Not bad. Raffy might remember me. I was a very famous yell leader back in the day.
All right,
And,
all right.
Nobody remembers. So I have a question for Jeff.
Yeah.
Because I've seen what has gone on with Raff and everything, followed his little story there. And my question is, you have your at-home thing. I'm out here in Kansas City.
Okay.
And so you have your at-home workout deal. So is it classes that you can get on and say, like, you click on it for the day when you get home?
Yes.
Workout, or are they pre-scheduled?
No, they are. We're pretty much on demand. So if you want to work out at 5:16 p.m., you can do that. We actually have a Virtual Studios website that you can get on there and do the workout at any time. So 3 a.m., 4 a.m., midnight, whenever it works for your schedule, you can get that done. And you
All
don't.
right, sweet. That was what I was concerned of, because I'm coming and going all the time. I don't know if I'm going to make it to class on time if I'm virtual.
Yeah, and that's one of the best things about virtual is you can do it on your schedule. So if you're at work late or the traffic's bad, or you can do it at any time. So and doing it at home, you get everything you would get if you came into the gym, as far as like the support, the nutrition program. You get to be in the $1,000 challenge, all of that stuff. So it's just done a little bit differently, but the support, the family type support that you have, the team atmosphere, that's all there. You just have to be a little bit more disciplined when you're doing it at home. Because I tell people, like, yeah, let us know if you did it. But I mean, you could just be laying in bed watching the video thinking, oh, what's going on here? And then, not actually do it. So you got to be a little bit more disciplined doing it at home. But you'll definitely have the support that our members will get if you're in the gym.
Hey, Dustin, this is Aaron Davis. How you doing, buddy?
He's not. Dustin, hey, brother, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. It's only been about 20 years since I've heard your voice. Good luck coaching your kids' baseball team. Right now, though, probably need to let Jeff go. We'll go into a break here. Jeff, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Yep. And if you're interested, just fxblincoln.com, or you can get a hold of me directly. You can message AD or Chris, and they can get you in contact with me also.
All right, and we will go to break. You're listening to The Ticket 93.7, and when we get back, we will have a special guest calling in. We will talk to you here in about 5 minutes.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
Beatrice Bakery has been serving Nebraska with one-of-a-kind grandma's fruitcake since 1964. You already know that, but did you know they offer way more than that? You've got to try their line of liqueur cakes, like the strawberry daiquiri cake or the vanilla rum cake. Or what about their breakfast breads, the banana nut bread, or their various streusel coffee cakes? Whatever the occasion, Beatrice Bakery has something for you. Oh yeah, and grandma's fruitcake? It's still pretty darn good. Beatrice Bakery, located in downtown Beatrice, or always online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Is our internet down again? That's the question you hear around the office when you experience an outage with outdated communication services. Allo knows businesses need reliable internet to keep everything moving. This is why Tammy Stevenson of the Bridge Behavioral Health switched to Allo.
Expedient and reliable service is critical because we provide care to our clients 24/7. We're just very, very appreciative of Allo service.
To get a free quote, switch today. Visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685.
I'm Jenny Benson, president of the NSEA, and I'm asking for your help. We know the best learning for our kids happens when they are in classrooms, in person, with their classmates and teachers. To help keep our public schools open for in-person learning, please follow health and safety guidelines from medical experts. Working together, our students continue to learn, grow, and thrive.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision.
Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air. Working at Continental of Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Business and just life, man. Riley, tell us right now, first of all, man, how you doing?
You know, I'm hanging in there. I mean, I can't complain. I made a career change, probably going on almost, I want to say 3-4 years now. Switched over to the barbering industry.
Mm-hmm.
So for the last, 3 or 4 years now, I've been barbering.
Been cutting hair.
I gotta tell you, it is it's a very rewarding career change.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Riley, I follow you on, obviously we go back so many years, man, but I follow you on, I love following you on Instagram and social media, Facebook, and just watching you. First of all, man, you got mad skills when it comes to social media with the cropping and the pasting and the putting the different faces. You put a picture up last week. Bro, you put a picture up last week and had you behind the register, had you cutting somebody's hair, had you wait to get a haircut. I'm like, I thought it was just Riley and his brother.
I've always pushed that creative envelope, from drawing on the boards of the coaches, back in the
That's right.
Back in the day when we were playing. So doing caricatures and I try to stay fresh and try to keep it live.
There you go.
Keep it funny.
Riley, I forgot about that. Before our team meetings, to you folks out there listening, again, we have a special guest, Riley Washington, from Chula Vista, California. Riley ran ward number 3. Riley was an amazing speed. First of all, it was just sickening what he had. Riley, tell us where'd you grow up at, man? I told him Chula Vista, but tell us more about where you grew up at.
I mean, you had it right. Chula Vista is just basically a small part suburb of San Diego. I grew up pretty much most of San Diego, to be honest, moving from different parts of the city. But I just grew up there, and from my earliest accounts, it's what my mother told me. She told me that when I was young, I would just run a lot
Mm-hmm.
and run. And growing up and being from Texas, I guess the part that I grew up in, which is Plainview, Texas, was pretty open.
Mm-hmm.
So me running, I would run in the blink of an eye, I'm going to block, and so be that young just like that was pretty amazing. And California, I started running track when I was in second grade. Probably the first and the last one that I actually ran until high school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't run track from second grade until my freshman year in high school.
So you didn't run track from second grade until your freshman year in high school?
Yeah, I never did run in junior high, and never did run after that. I ran in elementary school up to like the second grade, third grade possibly, and then I didn't run anymore.
Riley, when did your affinity for football start? Like when you figure like, I kind of like this sport. When did that start for you, and how did you get started even playing football?
To be 100% honest, football, I didn't play. My first time ever playing organized football with pads on was my sophomore year in high school.
Okay, wait a minute. You said your first time playing organized football was your sophomore year in high school.
My first time playing organized football with helmets and shit. We didn't really have flag football then that I can recall. It was just usually just like Pop Warner football, Pee Wee Junior Midget football. Well, I didn't do any of those sports, just growing up financially wasn't always accessible for me to do those things. So I just didn't really pay no mind to it. So the first time that I actually played football was my sophomore year in high school. And the reason I came out is a good friend of mine was an older guy at the high school that I was at.
Mm-hmm.
He was back. He ended up playing at New Mexico State out of high school, but he was, I don't know, maybe he didn't shoot the filler, but it was probably about, I'm guessing, looking back now, probably like 6'3", 220, 230 maybe.
220. What position did he play?
I was 5'9", 135 if I had on a sweatshirt that was soaking wet and I had a pair of boots on. And he tells me I should come up for football and I should play running back, the same position that he plays.
So he was 6'3", 230, and you were 5'9", 135.
Yep, 5'9", 135 pounds. Yeah. I'm still pretty, I won't say I'm skinny or small. I'm just a smaller dude now, but then I was tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay, but yeah, so my sophomore year in high school, first time I ever put in the pads, helmet, I really was green to a lot. I think I learned more about football at Nebraska than I did before I got to Nebraska. So I didn't really have an idea about it, but my coach did tell me that the one thing that I had that was always of value was I was fast. I had speed, and people want speed because you really can't. You can't make speed.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really make the kind of fast that I was. So, I think with a grain of salt, and he said also if you play football, you can do both. You can play football and you can run track.
Raleigh, what's impressive about this, man? You were a two-way player there at San Diego Southwest, but you just started playing football your sophomore year in high school. All right, think about it. And you don't have to think about it, you know it. But then you rushed for 1,200 yards as a senior and 1,100 yards in 1990 when you first started playing, and that was your first year of playing organized football. So let me ask, when did you? That's just crazy. There's folks who've been playing football from first grade to senior year, and they ain't rush for 1,000 yards in that long. You did that just being introduced to the sport, and just in that year, 2 years, you did those. You had those accolades, those numbers. When did it hit you that you figured, okay, and you've always been humble, very quiet, very laid back, but internally, when did it hit you and said, you know what? I might be able to do something with this. Was there a moment? Was there a game? Was it a coach? When was that moment when you said, you know what? I think I can play football at a high level?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. I mean, I can think of so many different times when I feel like I've arrived, but as far as what made me feel like I belong in the sport,
mm-hmm.
honestly, that's a tough one, AD. I'm about to say if I think of anything from that one, it might have been my first year playing. Because the first year when I first played football, they put me on junior varsity just because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on junior varsity for the first thing, 2, maybe 3 games, and then they put me up to varsity. And they moved me to the varsity team, and I was second string in the varsity, second/third string in varsity, and then at the season progressed, I ended up being a second string and what have you. But I think the first time that I realized that I was like I belonged there, I think might have been my senior year actually. It was my junior year. And we had a game against, I want to say like Mar Vista, and I ended up rushing for like 5 touchdowns and like almost 300 yards that game.
How many yards?
I want to say almost 300 yards, but I could be wrong. But I know I had 5 touchdowns. I'm 48 now, so my memory kind of wanes a little bit. But but yeah, I know I had 5 touchdowns that game, and it was after my coach had put me on the bench. Because I fumbled the ball a couple of times, and so he benched me, sat me on the bench. He told me to think about it and get my mind right. He didn't give me a sucker and a lollipop and say, "Hey, you keep playing." He set me to the bench and told me to get my mind right, figure it out, and held me accountable for it. And then 3 or 4 players later, he looked at me and put back in the game, and everything was different from that point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that was my first time. That's how it turned out. And then I'm in Nebraska and I meet you, and that's a whole different story for a different day.
we coming for that in a second. Raff, you got one?
So Riley, I was just wondering then, did you come on the Nebraska track radar first or the Nebraska football, or how did your recruitment go?
Oh wow. It was from I can't really 100% say. I was going to say it's from football, because I remember my coach, Carl Perry, used to come to the Nebraska football camps.
Mm-hmm.
They have the coaching clinics, and I'm not sure how. Back in those days, it was pretty much it wasn't pretty much. The coaches did everything. I mean, they sent up the tapes for you, talked to schools for you. You didn't have a lot of access to social media like that for you. So I want to say it was for football, because my best year in track came my senior year after I already signed. So I don't think it's because of that. But it was football, and then when I came on my football recruiting trip, I also met with the track coach in the track team.
Coach
on
Pepin?
that one trip. So I met with Coach Pepin,
Mm-hmm.
on my recruiting trip for football. And so it was kind of like a culmination of 2 things, but I think I got picked up primarily for football, and then track was also a part of it too. I guess it depends on who you look at. If you put the Coach Pepin, maybe he might say the track. He may say football. I don't know. But either way it goes, I ended up here doing both.
Riley, I remember when I was deciding to go to school, and like I said, come to Nebraska as a walk-on, I'm talking to Coach Brown in his office. He was just saying who he had coming in, Willis Brown, and other receivers that were coming in, Willis Brown, where he obviously had Abdul Muhammad, Tremaine Bell, Corey Dixon. He was just kind of saying to the guys we had come in and how they would, show me the ropes, etc. But it was almost like a warning. AD, I just want you to know the type of speed that's coming in here. You know what I'm saying? He says, we want you part of this. Yes. Riley, tell them now. And Riley's going to be humble. You folks that are out there listening, he's extremely humble. And I'm going to start this and you finish it. Riley Washington ran the fastest blank his senior year in high school in the nation.
The fastest 100 meters?
The fastest 100 meters in the nation. Riley, what was your time your senior year?
It was 10.30.
10.3. Now, I would be at a 10.3, but I'd still have about 20 meters to go.
Yeah.
Riley, when you ran that, tell us about that track meet. Where did you run that time at when you set the record for the fastest 100 meters in the nation your senior year?
Oh, honestly, that it's funny you say that, because it's like one of those stories that resonates with me the most, because it kind of ties in Nebraska with it. Because after I signed my letter of intent for Nebraska, the football season, I could receive audio tapes, and these were cassette tapes, people. They weren't DVDs or linked to YouTube. We got cassette tapes. So they gave me a cassette tape of Start talking about visualization and how to see this, how to see it in and visualize what you want in life. And I'm an impressionable 18-year-old kid, so I mean, I'm gobbling it up. I mean, I'm sucking it all in. And one of the things that I remember him saying was to have fun with visualizing what you're doing. So prior to the track meet, I sat in the school van. There was only like maybe 3 or 4 of us that went to the state meet, maybe just a relay. So I stayed in the van while they went to the mall, because most of the state meets, you got activity in downtime. Well, while they were doing that, I sat in the van for like 2 hours. It's hot. This is in Cerritos, California. This is maybe a little bit north of LA. And it was an all-weather track. It was hot. But it was hot that day, and I remember sitting in this van with the windows up, and all I could do was just see myself in this race, like from every imaginable angle. I mean, I was a bird in the sky. I was in the stands. I was an ant watching myself. I was I could smell the grass. I went through everything that I could imagine happening, right? So we get up to the track meet, we get for the race, and everybody's in their blocks. And I'm not sure what happened in my semifinals, but I didn't do as hot as I thought I did, time-wise. So I was actually in lane 8 by the fence next to the hurdles.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't in the middle of the track. I was like on the outside. Like people didn't even tell me to get last. I was in lane 8. So, we're getting down and the gun goes off and I blacked out. I don't remember anything else until crossing the line. I do not remember not one other thing about that race until I crossed the line and I glanced over and I saw the time on the clock and it said 10:30, new league record, new state record.
You fast.
And so for anybody out there who's listening to this right now, if you have any video footage from the 1992 California State 100-meter race, I would love to see that because I have never seen myself run.
I mean, you're so fast. I ain't never heard anybody. They're so fast they just black out when they run it.
Oh, but here's the thing though. When I ran indoor track at Nebraska my freshman year, there's actually a picture that was taken of me running the indoor 60 and my eyes were closed.
Bro, you got it.
And I said, and I tied the indoor record that day.
I remember that day because it was right there. Not at AWR, but that was the indoor meet, and that was one of your first. It was insane how you did that. Riley, before we got a break one up here pretty soon, pretty quick. We want people to know that on Honda of Lincoln hotline, it's 402-464-5685.
And we got the text line from Starter Heyman at 402-464-5685 also. And this is on the Ticket 93.7. And we got Riley Washington, former Husker, here with us tonight.
Riley, you had, first of all, that story is just amazing. Because like I said, we've known each other 30 plus years, 30 years now, and I hadn't heard that before. I remember you setting the record. And I do remember seeing the one when you ran against Napoleon Kaufman that played in the pro football for those years. And I think you were only a sophomore that year when he was a senior. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
I remember we seen that footage, but I'd never, well, of course, now that you mention it, that you just brought that up, there's a reason why I never seen you set that record because you don't remember it. You were, eyes blacked out and just ran it, but you were in such a zone. And think about this, Riley. State track meets now, basketball games, etc. Guys and girls have their cell phones out. They're on social media. Not knocking that, just calling it reality. You were in a hot van getting your mindset ready for the task you had at hand. That's a mindset. And I'm going to get to that in our next segment. We talk about that in the Husker football days. But, Riley, you had also offers from just a few here, Colorado, UCLA, Fresno State, Oregon State, a plethora of others. Why did you choose Nebraska? What stood out to you about Nebraska?
Well, honestly, academics was a big part of my growing up. I mean, my mom at one point in time, she was a teacher, so she taught me early on kindergarten area. And so I'm always really been into education. And so when I came to Nebraska, I went to a few different places, which I won't mention, but I went to a few different places, and Nebraska academically was so far ahead of everywhere that I had been up to that point that it kind of was sparked my interest the most. Was the fact that the academic center was phenomenal. I mean, they had a lot of help there, tutors that are there to help you. That's really what and then obviously, you know, there was just meeting guys like you guys, you know, meeting guys like you, AD. I mean, you and some of the older guys who were already here, like Abdul, ended up being a good friend of mine to this day. Pastor Johnson, it's just a number of people that I met on my recruiting trip that kind of made it more memorable for me. And I really felt like this was like a place for me to be, even though it was like 19 degrees and I had a real sweater on that was terrible. I still came, and it was crazy. It was crazy. So Nebraska just stood out to me. I mean, it was pretty much a culmination of everything. Like, I had a great time as far as I was a 19-year-old kid. We went to a party. We had some good time. I mean, the academic center was nice. The weight room was great. I didn't have any reason to not. And then plus, a little part of me wanted to go to a place that was away from where I grew up at. Not because it was a terrible place, but just because I didn't want to have access or an easy way to fall back home.
Right.
Like, oh, well, I went back home for the weekend and got in trouble. I didn't want those opportunities or those options to pop up. So I ended up just trying to go somewhere farther away. And Nebraska just kind of fit the bill all the way around. Pretty cool.
You know, Riley, you that story with academics, and it's, you know, you can't have one without the other, academics and football. And you can, but you're not going to last in football too long if you don't have the grades. And you think about the facilities that we had there and still have there with Dennis LeBlanc and Keith Zimmer and that entire team there at the Hewitt Center. And even as you mentioned that, my mind just went back to the study halls at night. We had to be there the first semester as freshmen, and the excellence. And I was sharing that with Derek earlier, that it was demanded both on and off in the classroom, outside the classroom. We were held to a very high standard of excellence that was there, and how you brought that back up against. My mind went back right away to the excellence that Dennis LeBlanc and Keith Zimmer, they had for us there. You know, let me ask you this, and I know we're going to be hitting a commercial here fairly soon, but I'm going to ask you this. So when you came on your recruiting trip, you enjoyed what you saw, you enjoyed the environment that you were in, and you mentioned academics in that part of it. What was different about Nebraska than the others? And what I'm going to do, we're going to hit that. We want you to take a second, think about that. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll get into that question again, why you chose Nebraska, but also the championship runs, as we have the championship game coming up on Monday night from your perspective as a former Husker. Hang on tight with us, folks.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Sponsored by SAMHSA and Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Is our internet down again? That's the question you hear around the office when you experience an outage with outdated communication services. Allo knows businesses need reliable internet to keep everything moving. This is why Tammy Stevenson of the Bridge Behavioral Health switched to Allo.
Expedient and reliable service is critical because we provide care to our clients 24/7. We're just very, very appreciative of Allo's service.
To get a free quote, switch today. Visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the Riffin with Raff and AD show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Right now, we've got Riley Washington, former Husker, on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Feel free to call in if you have any questions for Riley, number 402-464-5685, or feel free to text us on the Starter Heyman hotline, 402-464-5685. And we are back again with Riley. Riley, I got a question for you. What made you choose the number 3 at the university?
3. I'm not sure I can say that on the air. No, nah, it was just that's kind of a hard one to go into. Because I have so many reasons why I picked 3. I just like 3 a lot. Yeah, you know what? I couldn't give you a real reason. I mean, I honestly couldn't give you a real reason why I like that number. It was either that or 80, and I think Tremaine Bell had 80.
Yep.
If I remember correctly. So I didn't have any other options. I knew it was better than what we got our freshman year. What we get 80, 98.
Man, I think I was 99 or something like that. I mean, that's you with a 99 person getting the game if you get in.
Yeah, I had 98 right there next to you. But yeah, I don't know about pick 3. It was just a number that I liked, and I thought it kind of fit, and then just kind of ran with it. And it stuck, and I kind of liked it. So it went that way.
You know what, Riley? Ethan brought up a good question in here, and he's a production guy that's in here with his other teammate. And he has a good question, and Ethan is, we call him Big Sky. That's what Derek calls him, Big Sky. He's from Montana. And Ethan, he's a Big Sky. He's from Montana, man. 22 years old, man, and he's sharp as a tack. And he had a great question here. He goes, here's the question. Do you think track was more beneficial to your football development than what a 7-on-7 camp would be as they do today? What do you think was more beneficial for you?
Oh, 7-on-7. But I actually did 7-on-7. I did a few tackling leagues when I was in California my junior and senior year before my high school football coach, who was also my track coach, he left my senior year after football. So I'd have a track coach for track. But as far as as far as I was concerned, 7-on-7. As far as football, 7-on-7 by far. Because I don't think, as far as track was concerned, as far as my speed was concerned, everything up to that point was me. I mean, I didn't have any, the things and techniques that are taught today for track and that I've taught kids over the years for track, they weren't taught to me that way because probably it wasn't known that way. So a lot of things that I did in track, it was pretty much God-given. That was pretty much 99% of it was God-given. So as far as football, that was more that a lot of kids my age that I grew up with, yours, I'm pretty sure, you guys had the opportunity to play that Pop Warner, play youth football to kind of get an understanding of the game and how it worked out. My only option with that was doing 7-on-7 in the summer for a couple of years when I was in high school. But I think 7-on-7, without a shadow of a doubt, was more beneficial to my overall development as a football player, though.
Riley, let me ask you this. When was it at Nebraska that you realized I'm no longer playing high school? Was it a hit? Was it the way we practice? What introduced you to Nebraska football? Because I've got a few of my own, but I want to hear yours. When did you realize, man, I am not in California anymore playing? When did it hit you were playing big-time football in Nebraska? Tell me. Just think about that for a second.
Hey, man, you already know. Billy Wade and D. White, that's David White and Billy Wade, they played defensive line or linebacker at Nebraska. In our freshman year, we were in the Cook Pavilion, and we were on scout team.
Yes.
And, typically in high school when you're playing running back, because I actually played running back in high school, once you got past the lineman, you kind of had, a couple of steps with some jiggles, maybe a cut here, there you go. Well, in college, though, these guys were a lot more aggressive. And so I remember getting the running play, and I remember going across the middle, and I got past the line, and that was like part of the plan. And I made a stutter move, and the next thing that I remember was I think I was spitting out turf, and the ball was rolling away from me because Billy Wade ran me down from the back and just ran through me. And that's when I realized, I'm going to play receiver. I'm going to go out here where space for guys in my size.
And folks, you listen to the listeners out there. Billy Wade played defensive line and defensive tackle. David White played linebacker and defensive end and had a very long career in the pros of the Buffalo Bills, most notably. In fact, David Big D still lives up in the Buffalo area. And I remember you were hanging out with the running backs, and the next thing I know, you were in a meeting with the receivers. He was like, I'm done with that, man.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, though. I appreciate it, though. It's awkward, but, I'm good.
Riley,
I feel like Corey Nixon, and I'm like, Corey Nixon's smaller than me, and I mean, as far as height, he's staggered tail strong too. But I'm like, okay, I see AD over there, but why am I over here though? With these guys like Calvin Jones, like these guys are big. Like, why am I over here, coach?
So that was what introduced you to college football. The thing that I know you remember this too, when we all checked in. Because, in high school, obviously, I did not have the speed even close to what you guys had, but I love my high school right here in Lincoln High School, played receiver, etc. The biggest challenge, the biggest shocker was, like you just mentioned, the speed of the game was so fast. And I remember in high school, and you remember this too, you can just run away from people. I didn't have to release off the line of scrimmage. You just get away. You just run away from them. Remember in practice, Riley, when Coach Brown None of us get off the line of scrimmage. And Toby Wright, folks, fans, listen, you remember Toby Wright also wore number 3.
Oh yeah.
And Kareem Moss, remember Kobe Wright and Kareem Moss came from JUCOs. None of us could get off the line of scrimmage. Remember that?
That was Mike Book.
Yes.
That was Mike Booker.
Yes.
That was Mike Booker. And the only one who could do it was Corey Dixon and Abdul.
That was it.
They did it easy. Like it was like it was no problem. But me and you, I know at least me and you.
Holbein couldn't get off either.
Maybe even Vetchel.
Yep.
Johnny V. We had problems.
Yes. Yes, we were getting assaulted at the line of scrimmage, weren't we?
We were getting physically assaulted. I want to file charges, but I couldn't.
And Riley, this leads in to what we talked about earlier. And Derek was talking about this earlier as far as we were talking about how we did things in Nebraska as far as culture. We eventually learned how to get off the line of scrimmage. How did the older guys play a role in teaching you and myself and the others, in regards to what position you played? How did that play a role in your success and learning how to do things the Nebraska way as far as football goes?
Well, for me, because I consider myself very green when it came to the sport of football. I mean, I consider myself green. Yeah, I know I was up to the guys who've been playing for years, but I was still considered green. So when they would tell me little tricks of the trades and certain things, I listened to it with giant ears, and I'm listening to everything like a sponge, good or bad. But as I grew older, I learned to decipher the bad and the good. But yeah, I took a lot of that stuff in, especially with like Corey and Abdul, like because they were guys who were shifty, fast, had great hands, but knew the game. Like Corey is more track guy as far as the way I related to him as far as track wise, and Abdul was more the California guy that related to football wise. They came together, and it's like I learned so much with both of them two used by themselves, man. I mean, believe it or not, AD, you taught me a lot too. I mean, like it wasn't just the older guys and the older culture. For me, it was just the guys who had played the sport, and you guys had all, in my eyes, played a lot longer than I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to soak it up. Like, I mean, you played receiver. I didn't play receiver until I got to Nebraska. So I watched everything. I mean, the main thing I did learn though, which I think you and I both probably didn't learn very fast, was how to fall on the turf. Because for those who are listening, there's the turf we had back in the day that we played on, it was comparable to like sandpaper. So when you fell on it, you would lose a little bit of your skin. So AD and myself, we didn't know how to fall. You got to fall and roll. Yes. You don't roll, you just slide. Well, your skin stays in place, but your body keeps moving, so you need a lot of your skin. So the best thing that I learned was how to roll over, because, hey, you can attest to this when I stayed at your house that over Thanksgiving, and I had those bandages on my knee.
Tons of them.
Because my knee was gone. Yeah, that was the best thing I learned, was how to fall on the turf.
So, Riley, this is Chris again. I got another question for you. Back in the good old days, Nebraska used to shuttle into plays with the receivers. I was just wondering if you and Coach Osborne ever had any memorable interactions shuttling in the plays.
AD, was this your question?
No.
I think you're trying to call me out a little bit.
No,
okay,
no.
Okay, here's the deal.
I promise you, that's all right.
It wasn't in the game. It was in a scrimmage. And it was my freshman year, maybe my freshman year, I think. And at that time, we ran the plays in and out the game. Before scrimmage, it was pretty intense. Our scrimmages were like games, so it was pretty intense. And, as a freshman, you want to be able to call these plays and come in, and I couldn't recall a play now to this day, but I was just making it up, right? So maybe like power left, 32 trap, wing wide open, X post, right? Sounds pretty easy. And I'm like, okay, I got this. So Coach Osborne, I was on the sideline, and he tells me to play, and I ran to the huddle like my fastest I've ever ran to the field. I was sprinting onto the field. I ran in the huddle so fast. I got in the huddle.
Did you black out?
Like, what's the play? And I forgot. I forgot the play. A timeout was called, and the play to get shuffled in. But no, other than that, I mean, a lot of time when I was on the sideline, as far as bringing in plays, in plays, like I think everyone had
absolutely
a play that they were like designated as. Like I was the reverse guy. I mean, I don't think anybody else ran the reverse besides me, you know, because I was just the guy who ran the reverse, and then you had other guys who may run the crossing routes, and tight ends had their flag. I mean, everybody had their own thing, so I didn't really have too many issues with bringing in plays and like that. But as far as memorable ones, that's by far the most ones that I've ever had was the one that I bought to play in and forgot to play.
Mm-hmm. Riley, we had a question that came in on the text line here. This is Riley, explain how playing on the field turf in Memorial Stadium was like versus playing on natural grass.
As far as heat, it's a lot hotter on turf. I mean, at least the turf that we played on, it wasn't as synthetic as it is now. It was closer to like maybe like loom carpeting. It wasn't very like pile carpeting. It wasn't very forgiving and what have you. So it was pretty hot. But the benefits of it was you were faster on it because you were able to make better cuts and get better grip, so to speak. The offset to that though was because you could get a better footing on it. A lot of guys sustained injuries because of the turf being the way it was. So a lot of guys didn't like it. Some guys did. I wasn't different to either one. It didn't matter if it was grass or turf, but I preferred to play on turf after I had been here for a while, just because of the Midwest and the weather. I mean, we practice every now and then, and the grass is wet and it's, you know, it's muddy, and it's just not a good situation to be in. So I prefer to be on turf in the wintertime, especially.
You know, Riley, I've always believed that kind of this saying I've always had in my head that grass gives, but turf hurts. You know, because if you made a cut on the grass, you would slide a little bit, and sometimes you didn't want to slide as much, but at least your ACL and MCL would still be in place on that turf, especially at the technology we had at that time. It wasn't advanced as it is now. So when you cut back then, that leg was going. It was cut in regards if you wanted to or not, and it would just stop. You know, your body weights keep going, and those ligaments would just keep rolling on too. Riley, quick question here I want to ask you, man. Just the national championship game is coming up on Monday. All right, you got two powerhouses. As receivers, we were often, I mean, you watch games, and I know those of you folks that are listening right now, if you go back and watch the old tapes in Nebraska, and you hear the commentators, whether it's on radio that we're on now, whether it's on national television, and they would say Coach Brown would coach the team, the receivers, and Coach Osborne, they demanded that we were the most ferocious blockers in college football. You came from a background to where, you know, you were running. And like you said, you were green behind the ears. You'd only played organized football for 3 years before going to college. It wasn't like you went to a small school. You went to a major powerhouse. And you went from running back to receiver to learning to catch the ball, run routes for position, to also becoming a ferocious blocker. And what you were a dang good one, man. A dang good blocker. And with level guys. What was the mindset that you had to have to play that type of the physicality we had during them? Because Coach Osborne shared a stat not too many years ago, and I'm not sure what the exact number is. I have to ask him this sometime. But the percentage of teams that lost the following week after they played us because they were so physically beat up from playing us. And Coach, they'd always tell us, punish the perimeter. Will you tell? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want you to think about the mindset that had to go in of playing physical football. We'll be right back with you.
Is our internet down again? That's the question you hear around the office when you experience an outage with outdated communication services. Allo knows businesses need reliable internet to keep everything moving. This is why Tammy Stevenson of the Bridge Behavioral Health switched to Allo.
Expedient and reliable service is critical because we provide care to our clients 24/7. We're just very, very appreciative of Allo's service.
To get a free quote, switch today. Visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating it up.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Old School with DP and J.
I understand it. It is a different generation. I think the majority of the guys, the majority of the kids coming out of high school, they don't love football. The high majority, you can just see how they play, and they're probably better athletes depth-wise. But why would they love the sport of football when they get everything that you would get out of performing at a high level with average input?
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rounding out riffing with Raff and AD here. This is Big Sky with a quick update. Nebraska trails Michigan State 74-64. We'll have a Husker basketball postgame show with DP Bach and Eric Strickland coming up right after this.
Riley, what was the mindset, my man? We're back here with Riley Washington, former Nebraska receiver, number 3, part of the 94-95 national champion team. Riley, what was the mindset to be physical as a receiver and to punish the perimeter?
I think once you get into the program and you get into that position, you're seeing the guys ahead of you who do it, and it becomes a fun competition. Like, you know, I see a guy like Corey Dixon, not very much height on him, strong as could be, fast.
A little short stack guy. A little short stack.
Yeah, but look, power. We was an itty-bitty committee. That's what we were all called. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, and guys like Abdul just punishing guys on the edge, and then when Osborne tells us that, you know, by us blocking like that on the edges, we're gaining an additional 5 to 6 yards per running play. I mean, that's a huge amount of gain.
Yes, it is.
You know, from us just blocking outside the field, doing something that, I mean, it's tough, but it's rewarding. I don't know. I think with the mindset, you got to just like to hit. Mm-hmm. And I think we like to all hit. That's why I think the majority of the receivers at one point in time play running back in high school. I mean, because we want to be physical guys. You know, that's the guys. We were physical, and Nebraska demands to be physical. And I think we were truly team players. I mean, we didn't pass the ball a lot. Let's be honest, but no one ever cared about that as much as you would think we would have. Really? We wanted to win the game, and if we could punish the receiver or crack block on a linebacker, oh, that was great. That was great.
He's starting to
We
love it.
loving that one. Let's do that.
So Riley, what do you see in the current teams? Like what do you think it'll take to get back to that mentality? Do you think that is something that is possible?
Without being too, actually say it, without knowing what's really going on within the locker room, within the meeting rooms, within the coach's office, and just purely from a spectator's perspective, I think it's going to take a consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is no inside information. I don't have any. But just from the outside looking in, I think it needs to be less micromanaging per se, and allow coaches to coach and kids to perform. And if kids can't perform, then it's understandable that now with the transfer portal and the kids are able to transfer on a dime, it's kind of difficult to kind of find that even ground. But I think at some point in time, you've got to just put your foot down and say, listen, this is how it is. And if guys want to transfer out the way it's happening, guys are transferring in as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as bad. I think it's a different approach to the game from the required. But I think as far as the practice is concerned, from what I'm seeing in the off season, as far as who they brought in, coach wise, I think it's a very good chance. I mean, think about it. This year, the season was really kind of crazy. I mean, we lost so many games by a field goal, and
right.
I mean, and this crazy things that happen that typically don't happen for one team as often as it did in one entire year. I mean, I think that went against us that you probably couldn't control as a coach, you know. But I think going forward, I think again, it'd be a lot less micromanaging, maybe more adjusting to what happens going forward. But as far as the kids' mentality, I think you've got to just expect that mentality. Right. I mean, you got to respect it, and I think you cannot fear losing a guy because the guy in front of him is better. I mean, play the best guy. It doesn't matter if the guy's a senior or a freshman. You have to play now. Play the best person. Play the best guy for your future.
Yeah.
Not for the future. You know, we got some of us for the 3 more years. Let's try to get these guys who are here, who want to be here. Let's develop them. Develop our talent. If the talent is here, but we have to develop that talent and get them to the point where they feel confident in what they're doing. So there's not a lot of second guessing what they're doing.
You know what, Riley? What you said, the consistency part is spot on, man. And you can tell those kids want to win. You got to learn how to win and learn from your mistakes and be consistent with your practice habits, the way you perform in every facet area of the game. And you can see the frustration on their faces. But you know what I like to see? I like to see frustration. I like to see somebody be pissed off after the loss of a game because it means it matters. You think about this, right? If we didn't beat a team by enough points, we were pissed off. And that came with a mentality aspect of it. And I do feel the future is promising. I really do. Obviously, we want to see it on the field. Everybody wants to see it on the field. The players do, the coaches do. We all want to see it done on the field. But like you mentioned, that consistency part is huge. And that's going to be one of our future topics as well. You brought up a great point, Riley, is that transfer portal. And we're going to play devil's advocate on a later show. But that is a huge – you bring up a great point. That's a huge factor right now because if kids, they don't like where they're at, well, I'm just leaving. And you know what, Riley? I want, and I know you want, and championship team compete every day.
Yeah.
It's not I'm taking my ball and going on mentality.
And I won't hop into that too much. This is for a later segment. But as far as the transfer portal, I mean, you can't go into it tiptoeing because to be 100% honest as far as coaching kids, you have kids, the ones in the transfer portal are not just kids who are not starting or not playing. Some of these kids have been starting since they've been at their schools and they're in the portal. So you can't coddle somebody and think they'll stay around. Play the best kid, play the best talent, and be prepared to find something better. Because these guys can come and go when they feel like it, so be prepared to replace them.
Absolutely. You almost got to just say bye. You want here. It's like I told you here. You want people to play. Every single one of us there back in the day. Of course, there was attrition and things like that. That's been going on since the beginning of athletics. But you had guys there right there that, like you said, normally weren't used to blocking and things like that. We bought in. We was like, you know what? This is the way things are done here. This is the culture of excellence. It's the standard. The older ones pass it down to the younger ones. Hence why there was success. And what you brought up a good point. You want to come to Nebraska to compete. If you want to compete, Nebraska's not the place for you. That was the mentality back then.
It was just that cut and dry. I mean, it's not perfect. There's no situation that's going to be perfect for everybody, but we also had guys who understood that it was a process.
Absolutely.
Like, you didn't have too many guys coming in with the expectation that they were going to be playing their freshman year.
All right.
I mean, you really didn't.
All right, Riley. Well, we really appreciate you coming on with us here tonight, but our time is actually running up. If you want,
Brother, tell us this: if we want to get a haircut, where do we go get a cut by at?
I'm at Henson's Barbershop right here on South 10th, 2010 South 10th Street. If you ever be on my profile page, I'm Uncle Barber, UNKTHA Barber, on Instagram and Facebook. I have a book now button, so just give me a call, jingle, just book button, come in and talk to me. We're here all week. And I've been here for a while. Coming down here and have a beer with us.
Riley, love you, Husker brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule, man. God bless, much love. Itty bitty Husker love for life, brother. Thanks, brother.
I appreciate both of you guys, man. You guys are blessed tonight, and I appreciate you guys.
You will, brother. Thank you much.
All right. Well, that will do it for the first Riffin with Raff and AD show. Be sure to catch us next week from 7 to 9 next week. And now get ready for your Husker postgame show with the boys on the block, Bach and Strick, and DP.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Our public school teachers want every child to learn, grow, and succeed. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the NSEA. School's in session, and it's key to build a partnership with your child's teacher. Visit with them and ask for an overview of your child's strengths and areas for growth. Ask for recommendations for activities and opportunities so you can work with your child to harness their strengths and address their challenges.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association on this station.
Is our internet down again? That's the question you hear around the office when you experience an outage with outdated communication services. Allo knows businesses need reliable internet to keep everything moving. This is why Tammy Stevenson of the Bridge Behavioral Health switched to Allo.
Expedient and reliable service is critical because